You'd be surprised how quickly 153 bodies pile up when you're doing the world a favor, one slice at a time. But sometimes, even a neat monster like me makes a mess. A scream you weren't expecting, a face that wasn't on the list. And those are the ones that don't go away when the blood is washed off the table, because those were the innocents. I didn't choose the code. Harry gave it to me, wrapped in fatherly concern and desperate hope. He didn't know how to cure what I was. So instead, he taught me how to aim it. Only kill those who deserve it. Kill carefully. Kill cleanly. Don't get caught. It sounds simple, clinical even. But the code isn't just a set of rules. It's a ritual. A way to make murder feel moral. The code gave me permission and a purpose. But every name was a person. Every kill, a story. Wiggles the clown, a childhood predator who haunted my early nightmares. My first blood slide taken in rage and precognition. Juan Rhinus, my first kill outside the code, triggered Harry's moral breakdown and him taking his own life 3 days later out of guilt. A dark turning point in my education. Nurse Mary, a caregiver turned mercy killer, injecting patients to relieve their suffering. Harry authorized her removal, and I carried out the first ritual.
Are all your victims in here?
Tony Furr, posing as a youth counselor, he preyed on children with disturbingly calculated charm. Harry watched, to see if I could face the horror. I did. Levi Reed, a sadistic ex-con who abducted and tortured drifters. I hunted him through Miami's docks, ending his reign of terror alone. Aaron Spencer. I repeatedly spared Spencer to follow him to a child captive, ultimately ambushing and killing him aboard his boat after protecting Becca from harm. Mike Donovan, choir director by day, child molester by night. I forced him to confront his victims before carving a bloodslide in cold justice. Jaime Jaworski, a valet who filmed his own snuff films. When the system failed him, I stepped in with a cleaver and my code. Matt Chambers, a repeat DUI offender who killed several people, escaped conviction and feigned remorse. My code gave him no mercy. Alex Timmons, ex-Marine turned sniper murdering civilians. A flashback kill that taught me how meticulous planning protects control. Dean Marshall, arsonist who watched his victims burn. At 20, I disciplined him with a fireproof ritual. Coleman and Max Lindquist, a father-son duo whose ritualistic decapitation with a hacksaw shared across 2 trophies demonstrated my evolving cruelty and methodical precision. Jorge and Valerie Castillo, they ran a human trafficking ring disguised as a refugee shelter, promising safety, then selling their victims into slavery or worse. Valerie played the charming front woman while Jorge managed the inventory. I staged a dual kill, binding them side by side so they could hear each other's final moments. They didn't die for their crimes, they died because they profited from pain, all while pretending to save lives. Cindy Landon, the classic Black Widow, she killed for money with no remorse. I made sure her scheme ended permanently. Emmett Meridian, a psychiatrist who guided women to suicide. I pretended to trust him and admitted to being a serial killer before turning the tables in his own office. Brian Moser, my brother, the ice truck killer embodying pure chaos, wanted us to team tag killing Deborah, so I had to put him down. Killing him was a rite of self-preservation. Lil Chino, gang enforcer with machete murders, escaped justice through fear. I followed, tranquilized, and ended his reign. Roger Hicks, charming car salesman who preyed on women. He underestimated me and got stopped mid-predation. Ken Olsen, amateur copycat killer who mimicked my methods. His arrogance left me no choice but to enforce the code. Santos Jimenez, he wasn't just another name on my table, he was the man who helped murder my mother while I watched as a toddler drenched in her blood. I tracked him down years later in Naples, Florida. The moment was personal, primal, but I still followed the ritual, giving him the same chance at confession that I never got. Famoso brothers. Their cocaine operation threatened Dokes, I eliminated them to protect my captive and my secret. Layla West, my narcissistic NA sponsor turned danger. She burned a cabin with Sergeant Oakes inside and kidnapped my children. Her betrayal demanded justice. Philip Barnes, defense attorney with a hidden addiction to power, used the law to set monsters free. One of his clients killed an entire family, and Barnes laughed about it over cocktails. The code doesn't usually apply to enablers, but Barnes didn't just defend evil. He profited from it, so I made an exception. Hal Rooney, innocent carnival burglar, mistaken as predator. His death? You could call it collateral damage. Oscar Prado, I killed him accidentally trying to stop Frevo. Guilt from that kill would haunt me. Fred Frevo Bowman, the drug dealer I originally hunted. Dysregulated kill but necessary to balance my moral ledger. Nathan Martin, a sex offender targeting my stepdaughter. My paternal instinct broke the code but protected family. Ethan Turner, husband who killed 2 wives undetected. I boarded his cruise and delivered justice on international waters. Clemson Galt, neo-Nazi, orchestrating outside prison walls. Took him in a courthouse trap, right after Miguel's betrayal. Miguel Prado, once a friend turned code-breaking enemy. He plotted murder. I ended his threat quietly. George King, the Skinner, tortured victims for pleasure and nearly killed me. I reclaimed control by breaking his neck. Benito Benny Gomez, brutal boxer who evaded justice. Mid-ritual kill interrupted, poured me into exhaustion in a crash. Zoe Kruger, dirty cop hiding behind her badge. I staged the kill in her home. Her victims would rest easier. Jonathan Farrow, wrong kill. I sketched him for murder, but he was later found innocent. Code smashed. Mistake. Stan Boldre, framed for Trinity murders. Got silenced in a trailer kill room. My diversion tactic. Arthur Mitchell, the Trinity killer. A monstrous mirror of my world. I dismantled his family and ritual, ending the darkest chapter, but not before he ended the good part of mine. Boyd Fowler, barrel girl handler. His operation brutalized women. Killing him ignited an unpredictable partnership with Lumen. Lance Robinson and Dan Mendel, hunters and victims of abuse in Lumen's arc. Dual kill stitched around trauma and twisted justice. Cole Harmon, muscle behind Jordan Chase, and endangered Lumen. Ending his life marked deepening darkness in me. Stan Liddy, corrupt but smart cop who had me dead to rights. Instead of arresting me, he blackmailed me, tased me, then let me slice him before he could reveal more. Ben and Roger, paramedics, harvested organs from dying patients. I used their own defibrillator to stop them. Poetic, isn't it? Joe Walker, ex-quarterback killer turned serial murderer, crushed his faith and his skull with a sledgehammer. Julio Benes, gang leader posing constant threat to Brother Sam. His throat slit in the barber shop. No mercy. Walter Kinney, once a serial predator, now frail elder, smothered him gently, erasing the remnant of future darkness. Nick, knife threat from Brother Sam's betrayal, drowned him in Biscayne Bay, cold but necessary. Norm, roadside thief, who made a mistake, a pitchfork death in a grain silo, a snapshot of moral erosion. Steve and Beth Dorsey, Travis Marshall Zealot's cotton gas plot, killed 2 targets during a misfire and containment strategy. Alberto, smuggler threatening migrants, stabbed him mid-crisis, improvisation over code. Travis Marshall, brain surgeon cultist who nearly killed Harrison, stabbed him mid-ritual, final act before Deborah knew too much. Victor Baskov, Koshka hitman who killed a detective, smothered him at Miami airport with a fire extinguisher, silenced his secrets. Ray Speltzer, ritualistic Minotaur slayer, cornered him after a violent cat and mouse chase, staked, then cremated him in a church furnace. Unnamed Koshka hitman, Tried to kill Isaac. I slit his throat in a frantic apartment standoff. Oleg Mitchik, sharpshooting assassin in the Brotherhood, stabbed him at the range. Saved Hannah but sank deeper in blood. Clint McKay, violent father abusing my partner, snatched him into my boat, stabbed him to shield Hannah's innocence. Hector Estrada, he helped orchestrate my mother's chainsaw murder, leaving me in a pool of her blood. I waited decades for this kill, but when I finally had him on my table I hesitated, with Deborah's pleas echoing in my mind. Instincts kicked in when he tried to run, and I ended it with a snapped neck and a quiet drop into the bay. Justice, long overdue. Andrew Briggs, threat to Deborah during her investigation. Killed in motel room. Deborah walked from that moment. Ron Galuzzo, cannibal killer brewing human stew, killed him in his cooking lair. Disgusting mirror to myself. A.J. Yates, tortured patients for the brain surgeon, impaled with a curtain rod, saving Deborah and Vogel. Oliver Saxon, the brain surgeon, killed Vogel and Zach, then hurt Deborah. Bad. Stabbed him in the neck with a pen in a jail cell. All caught on camera, determined to be self-defense. Exactly how I planned. Matt Caldwell triggered my dark passenger on a hunting trip in Iron Lake with a stray bullet, returned to ritual for bloodslide closure. Jasper Hodge, fentanyl dealer responsible for Harrison's overdose, died in his chair unaware, forced overdose. Kurt Caldwell, kidnapper of runaways, figured out that I killed Matt. Harrison watched me put him down. Shared kill sealed a familial divide with blood and grief. Not every kill made headlines. Not every monster got a plastic-wrapped send-off or poetic justice under moonlight. Some of them just faded into the background. Until I pulled them into the light. There was one guy, his name buried on page 6 of the Miami Star. A line in an article no one read. Suspect identified but never charged. That was enough. Others came from Deborah's murder boards. She thought she was mapping patterns. What she didn't know is that some of those dots were already gone, quietly, permanently. Sometimes it was a police file, a fax Masuka left on the printer, a DNA report with 2 kits and 0 arrests. I didn't need to ask questions. I already had the answer. One name came from a name tag in an old missing persons box. Another from an internal memo buried in evidence logs. Here are just a few of those that you didn't get to see. Daryl Tucker. He ran a foster home in Broward County. Behind locked doors there were bruises, broken bones, and one boy who didn't survive. Tucker never made it to trial, but I made sure he was judged. Selena Vargas. She owned a halfway house where women disappeared during probation. It took 3 weeks of posing as a parole officer to get close. The look in her eyes when she realized what I knew, priceless. Michael Ashford, a former priest turned predator, protected by silence and transferred across 3 states. His sins were confessed. To me, the cross around his neck ended up in a blood pool. Riley Goodman, a white-collar killer laundering money through pain clinics and leaving overdose victims in dumpsters. His kill wasn't messy, but it was righteous. Fentanyl and cash don't count as alibis in my ledger. These people weren't high-profile, but their crimes were textbook. The code didn't care if the world noticed, and neither did I. I followed trails most people would ignore. I read between the lines. I confirmed. Killed. Then I cataloged the blood, one slide at a time. They didn't get last words. They didn't get clever monologues or slow-motion flashbacks. But they bled and deserved it like the rest. By the time Dokes found my slide box, there were 46 in one and 43 in another. By the end, I'd stopped counting. But each of those names pulled from a file, glimpsed in a case photo, muttered in a briefing, became a whisper in my collection. Not every monster needs a spotlight. Some just need a scalpel and silence. The code was supposed to keep me in check. A leash for the monster. Proof that I could be something more than just a killer. But even leashes fray over time. I wish I could say every kill was clean, that every drop of blood was earned. But that would be a lie, and I'm done lying. Mostly.
Before you got on the boat.
Is that what this is about? Are you
fucking serious?
Logan didn't deserve to die. He was just doing his job. A good man trying to protect his community and protect me from myself. I killed him desperate to escape. No code, no ritual, just survival instinct. And I still feel that one. Deborah wasn't a target. She was my sister, my anchor. And when the machine said she'd never come back, I pulled the plug. I told myself it was mercy. I still don't know if that's true. Camilla asked for death, and I gave it. It's still a line crossed, even if she did welcome it with dessert. Then there was Rankin. That one wasn't planned. It wasn't vetted. It was pure rage, and not even toward him really. Raw, ugly, and dangerous. A glimpse of what I am without the code. And I didn't like what I saw. Even Dokes wasn't a killer. He was a good cop, just someone who hunted down the truth. Sure, I didn't kill him, but I let it happen. Same result, different weapon. There are others. Moments where I bent the rules, justified the unjustifiable. Sometimes the kill felt right, even when the reason didn't. That's the problem with a code. It was written by a man trying to cage a monster, and sometimes the monster slips out between the bars. Every perfect kill left one thing behind. Pressure. The truth was always just inches away. So every time I killed to protect the secret, I made it harder to pretend that I still had control. I told you about the ones I killed, but what about the ones I couldn't save? The victims I was too late to reach, or never even saw coming. Even though I didn't kill them directly, it's my fault some of them are dead, and for the others, I still feel guilty. Here they are. 1. Harry Morgan. My father. 3 days after he walked in on me dismembering a man, he died by suicide. An intentional overdose of his heart medication. The official story said heart failure. The real cause was the pills. I didn't know that truth until years later, so there was no intervention to make. No warning sign to read, and no way to reverse a decision I didn't know he'd made. The preventable moment was earlier. I failed to keep the dark passenger out of his sight line.
We can do something to channel it. Use it for good.
He spent my childhood building rules to channel it. But the first time he saw the unedited version, he couldn't reconcile the student with the lesson plan. If I'd kept the kill off his radar, the overdose has no reason to follow. Mechanically, it's simple. Pre-existing heart condition plus excess medication equals a fatal arrhythmia. No conspiracy, no accomplice, no external killer. Just a father who decided he couldn't live with what he'd created. Am I innocent? Completely. Could I have saved him? Only if I'd prevented the exposure that triggered the choice, and I didn't. 2. Sergeant James Dokes. A good cop who got too close. He tailed me, found my bloodslide trophies, followed me to a kill site, and caught me red-handed. I restrained him in a pre-built cage in an Everglades cabin I'd used to deal with one of my mother's killers. I didn't kill Dokes because he didn't fit the code. I wanted to, but chose to turn myself in instead, after a day to put my affairs in order. While I hesitated, Lila found the cabin, opened the propane tank, and ignited the place with Dokes still inside.
What are you doing? What the are you doing? No! Turn it off! No!
Cause of death? A propane tank explosion, intentionally set by her. I couldn't save him because I created the conditions for his murder and then left him unattended. I isolated him instead of turning myself in, left a living witness in a known location with combustible fuel on site. I underestimated Lila's impulse to solve my dilemma and didn't control the scene. Preventable steps. Release him and accept arrest. Move him somewhere without gas. Remove the tanks. Stay on site. Treat him like an innocent to protect. Not a problem to manage. I didn't make that switch in time. 3. Ellen Wolf, a defense attorney and Miguel Prado's rival. Miguel asked me to help kill her.
Ellen Wolf. Piece of work, right?
Go easy, be tactful. We can't kill her.
I see.
She was innocent and outside the code. He went alone, right after I let him make his first kill with me, Billy Fleeter. He beat and strangled Ellen, stabbed her, and buried her in a shallow, newly dug grave at Westgate Cemetery. I confirmed it by finding blood traces in her house and exhuming her body to show Miguel I knew exactly what he'd done. I couldn't save her because I misread Miguel's intent and speed. I left him unsupervised after he asked to murder an innocent. I didn't warn Ellen. I still showed Miguel how to kill. Preventable steps. Cut ties the moment he named Ellen. Warn her in La Guardia. Put eyes on Miguel. Contain him like a threat, not a student. 4. Frank Lundy, an FBI agent currently hunting Trinity. After rekindling things with Deborah, he stepped outside the Blue Water Hotel with her just before dawn. Someone opened fire in the parking lot. Lundy died on the spot. Deb was hit but survived. Miami Metro first treated it like a vacation murderer robbery. The truth, the shooter was reporter Christine Hill, Trinity's daughter. She later confessed, then killed herself with a gunshot to the head. I couldn't save him because I wanted Trinity for myself. I didn't share info or protect the people near the case. I never looked for other relatives or allies beyond the family I already knew. I didn't vet Christine, who had unusual access and motive. I wasn't there, didn't push for backup, and didn't shadow the meet. Preventable steps. Flag Christine early. Tell Deb to bring backup. Shadow their meeting. Coordinate with Lundy instead of running a parallel hunt. 5. Rita Morgan. My wife. Trinity got to her in our home. She turned back to grab her ID before a trip. I found her in the bathtub after I'd already killed him. The scene matched his ritual. Water in the tub. A razor cut to the thigh. Exsanguination. Harrison crying on the bathroom floor, sitting in his mother's blood. An echo of my own origin.
He knows my name, occupation. He can find out about my family. My family. What the hell have I done?
Trinity knew my real name and proved it in my squad room. He had my address, my family's faces, and the nerve to make his last kill personal. I couldn't save her because I treated Trinity like a puzzle and not a live threat to my family. Kept the hunt off the books. Didn't post a patrol car at my curb, and never put protection on Rita or the kids. I tried to relocate them after Trinity's visit at the station. Too little, too late. I knew he'd made me. He said my name in public, and I still left the door wide open for a final move. Preventable steps. Tell Metro I'm a target. Move Rita and the kids under a false name. Shadow the house. Or him. Let him fall at the construction site. Treat him like every other killer, not a mentor to study. 6. Melanie Garrett. Ray Speltzer frequented the Sugar Mill Saloon where she worked. I saw them flirting while she served him drinks, but I didn't stay. I showed Deb his file and pushed to take him out. Told her that he was hunting his next victim. She ordered me to lay off. Said the law would handle it and she'd get a warrant. I broke into his mausoleum chasing proof. While I was prying open drawers, Melanie got off work early and went to Speltzer's home. His house was a trap.
I like it when they're strong.
Talking about
Plywood maze, strobe lights, music blaring to cover the screams. He wore a bullhorn helmet, carried an axe, and hunted her through the corridors, beating her to death. I couldn't save her because I left the target to chase evidence. Deferred to Deb's let the system work order and treated it as final. Didn't warn her. Didn't tail him. Didn't call in a patrol to knock and break his rhythm. Preventable steps. Shadow them from the bar. Warn her in public. Put a marked unit on his house instead of breaking into a mausoleum. 7. Saul Price. A true crime writer building a book on Hannah McKay. The only person who knew Hannah and I were together and tried to use it against me. Met Deborah for drinks and spilled case info. Arranged a meeting with me. Met Hannah privately to force a confession. After that interview, he came to my apartment to press his advantage.
Life.
F*** you! You're not gonna get away with this. I'm gonna ruin your...
He collapsed mid-sentence, hitting his head on the coffee table and died on my floor. Cause of death, poisoning. Killer, Hannah. I I couldn't save him because I didn't anticipate the meeting or control his contact with her. Treated him like a nuisance. Focused on neutralizing his leverage against me and Hannah. By the time he reached me, the poison was already working. Preventable steps. Tell Price not to meet Hannah without police. Route him to Miami Metro for a recorded interview or protective custody. Recognize poisoning signs and call it in immediately. If I'd killed Hannah when I had her on my table, Sal would still be alive. 8 through 13. Travis Marshall victims. I first saw Travis when the locusts were released at the Botanical Gardens. Processing the Angel Wing evidence led me to his job, the Miami Cultural Center. After finding proof in his apartment, I caught him in his car with a garrote wire around his neck. Drive out of the parking structure, turn right on Flagler, and then drive on past the Miami River. He blamed Professor Geller. I decided Travis was a follower that I could scare straight and use to find Geller. That choice opened a lane for 6 deaths. Trent Casey. An atheist professor used for the Bowls of Wrath tableau. I tried to warn him, he didn't believe me. Travis abducted and murdered him days after I let him go. I never put Travis under watch. Didn't alert campus police that a specific professor matched the target profile and kept chasing a living Geller. Preventable steps. Surveil Travis. Warn the university. Lisa Marshall, Travis's sister, posed as the whore of Babylon. He killed her in her own home as his delusions escalated. I was still hunting Geller, unaware he was already dead. I didn't warn Lisa she was high risk. Preventable steps. Notify and protect relatives the day I let him go. Sit a patrol car on her house. Holly Benson. Previously spared after I made Travis feel guilty, later recaptured and killed with the help of the Dorseys. Hung from the anchor of a boat. Identified her as the next target, but didn't make it in time. I mistook released for safe. No protective custody, relocation, or plan for a circle back. Preventable steps, protective detail, relocation under an alias, daily check-ins, public bolo, tying Travis to her case. Unnamed elderly couple. Home invasion double murder, so Travis could use their house as a hideout. I didn't canvass property crimes or watch vulnerable homes. I focused on his tableau, not his logistics. Preventable steps. Cross-match his travel radius with recent break-ins. Patrol likely neighborhoods. Flag signs of a commandeered residence. Uniformed rooftop officer. Stabbed atop the Transcorp building as Travis moved toward his endgame with Harrison. I was at Harrison's play. Once Travis kidnapped him, my only thought was getting him back safely. Preventable steps. Elevate Travis to armed and extremely dangerous. Circulate his photo. Lock rooftop access near his recent sightings. And assign cover pairs so no officer faces him alone. Baseline preventable steps for the group. Continuous surveillance on Travis. Explicit warnings to likely targets. Use any lawful detention while disproving Geller. If I hadn't believed Travis's lies and let him go, they'd still be alive. 14. Maria LaGuerta. Reopened the Bay Harbor butcher case and followed the trail to me. I used Hector Estrada as bait. Forced him to call LaGuerta and lure her to the same place my mother was butchered. I tranquilized her. Planned to stage it as if they killed each other. But Deb tracked LaGuerta's location and arrived before I finished. LaGuerta ordered Deb to arrest me, then begged her to put me down. I told Deb it was okay. Do what she had to do. Deb aimed at me, then shot LaGuerta instead.
Thanks.
I couldn't save her because I didn't want to. She was an innocent. But the first rule of the code is don't get caught, and I put that above protecting her. I built the trap, put her in it, and left Deb with an unwinnable choice. Preventable steps. Stop the frame up and accept arrest. Surrender in public. Keep Deb away from the port. 15. Evelyn Vogel. She was a neuropsychiatrist who helped design the code that shaped me. Her son, Oliver Saxon, born Daniel Vogel, was the killer I was hunting. She believed she could reach him. When she realized she couldn't teach him the code, we set a trap, meet in public, my eyes on the perimeter. Instead, she called me to come to her house. As I walked up, my phone rang. Saxon told me to look up. The light came on, he stood at her side. I watched him slit her throat, saying,
Mother chose the wrong son. Again.
She died on her kitchen floor before I could cross the room. I couldn't save her because I allowed Vogel to keep meeting Saxon alone. No surveillance. I approached without backup or entry plan. I assumed a mother could calm the son I couldn't catch. Preventable steps. Move Vogel into protection. Wire the house and sit on the door with Deb. Take Saxon down the moment I have a line on him. 16. Max Clayton. Deputy U.S. Marshal assigned after Hannah McKay resurfaced under the alias Maggie Kastner. Elway tipped him off. He met Batista and me. Checked Arlene Schramm's house. Even dropped by my apartment and Deb's place. Suspected I was back with Hannah. Later, when I called Deb to the old Rendell Psychiatric Hospital where I had Oliver Saxon restrained, I told her to come arrest him. I didn't need to kill him. Clayton tailed her, found Saxon bound and gagged, moved in to help, and got stabbed in the chest with one of my knives. Saxon took Clayton's gun and shot Deb as she walked in, and then escaped. I couldn't save him because I left a live killer tied up in an unsecured building and didn't lock down access. I created a scene where any well-meaning officer would step close enough to be killed. Preventable steps. Secure the site and call it in. Move Saxon into custody immediately. Don't invite Deb without support on scene. If I'd killed Saxon or even arrested him, Clayton doesn't follow Deb into that kill box. 17. Deborah Morgan. Same scene as Max Clayton. Rendell Psychiatric Hospital. Saxon got free and shot Deb in the abdomen with Clayton's gun. She made it to surgery, initially stabilized. Then a post-op clot caused a massive stroke that left her brain dead. I later turned off life support, took her out on the boat, and dropped her in the ocean before heading into the hurricane. I couldn't save her because I set the stage. Live killer, unsecured building, didn't lock down access, called Deb in without backup support. Once Saxon pulled the trigger, everything that followed, OR, ICU, the clot, was just the clock running out. Preventable steps, everything that would have prevented Clayton's death. Secure the site, move Saxon into custody immediately, or finish him. Plus, never summon family to a live scene unless it's already under control. 18. Molly Park. A true crime podcaster working with Angela on Matt Caldwell and other cold threads. I watched Kurt lure her to his off-grid cabin for a fake interview, stepped in and got her out before he could do his hunt and kill ritual. Later, she met him again. I found her embalmed and displayed in Kurt's underground bunker with his other trophies. I couldn't save her because I treated that first rescue as the end of the threat instead of the start of protection. No tail on Kurt. Didn't warn Molly. No safety plan. No relocation. No two-person rule for future contact. I told Angela about the cabin after the fact, but I didn't push for 24/7 surveillance or a safe house from Molly. Kurt waited, adapted, and took her when no one was watching. Preventable steps. Move Molly into protective custody or a safe hotel under an alias. Hard no one-on-one with Kurt. Shadow him continuously until arrest. Coordinate warrants on cabin and property. Monitor approach points so he can't isolate a target again. Everyone always talks about my kills, the 154 monsters I put down. But what no one ever counts are the lives I saved by doing what I do. Every kill room I built meant someone else got to wake up tomorrow. A child not taken. A funeral not held, a family not shattered. If you're ready to look past the blood and into the lives that went on living because of me, then it's time you watch the next video. Every life saved by my 154 kills, explained by Dexter. 153 monsters put down, and 1,525 families still breathing easy, able to tuck their kids in, kiss them goodnight, and complain about screen time limits, instead of planning funerals. And Miami never sent a thank you fruit basket. Typical. Let's see if New York City follows suit. I'm Dexter Morgan, the 5 boroughs' unofficial pest control. Stay with me, and I'll show you how a well-placed scalpel cancels funerals faster than any task force, and why the blood on my gloves always dries firmly in the black. Harry's code is simple enough to fit on a post-it. Only kill killers. Never get caught. Always clean up the mess. I've obeyed it longer than I've followed traffic laws. See, when most people hear body count, they picture a scoreboard flickering angry red digits. I see a ledger. Left column, debits in blood. Right column, credits in birthdays, anniversaries, and painfully wholesome holiday newsletters. Remove one serial predator like Trinity, and you erase a decade-long killing cycle. That's 90 funerals taken off Miami's 5-year calendar. Slice through a cartel enforcer, and suddenly 25 witnesses live to testify instead of decorating the bay. Stack those figures side by side. The arithmetic turns oddly philanthropic. Which is why, when I slide a blade under someone's carotid, I'm not chasing thrills. I'm balancing an equation Harry wrote on the back of a crime scene photo. Evil minus my knife equals fewer coffins. Grotesque? Maybe. Effective? Indisputably. But even the IRS accepts charitable deductions. Mine just happened to drip a little before they dry. I like order, so my trophies sit in 3 neat columns. Serial predators, organized crime, crimes of passion. In the first column, serial predators. I have put 61 down. These are the overachievers. Career killers with branding strategies. A few noteworthy names from this one are Arthur Mitchell, Trinity Killer, Ritual Killer who reenacted his shattered family in 4 steps, buried a 10-year-old Arthur in wet concrete, bled a young Vera out in a bathtub while admiring her death in a mirror, forced a mommy to jump to her death, then bludgeoned a daddy after staging his own beating. He left only a smudge of his sister's ashes at each of his 279 kills. His hallmark? Consistency. Mine? Ending it. Ronald Schmidt. He stole my name. The Dark Passenger. Targeted New York rideshare drivers to avenge his father's ruined taxi career and subsequent suicide. Lured them with a fake pickup, looped a giggly saw around their necks, and decapitated them at remote kill spots. Police never knew his real tally, but the black binder in his apartment held 12 driver's license trophies in just 10 months. Once his fare was completed, every rideshare in Miami kept its 5-star rating, and roughly 60 more drivers will finish their shifts alive. George King, the Skinner, killed an unknown number of people in Nicaragua before moving to the United States. Kidnapped and tortured Miami day laborers, peeling layers of skin until they gave up a name, or just gave up. Thanks to Miguel Prado, he grabbed me too. His last bad idea. I flipped over the table, wriggled out of the ties, snapped his neck, and got out a window with seconds to spare. One Skinner flayed, dozens of street workers spared. Ray Speltzer, Minotaur Slayer, cosplay with a sledgehammer, built maze like kill courses, fitted his victims with bullhorns, then chased them until exhaustion did the aiming. I confirmed at least 3 kills, probably had a lot more. After he taunted Deb in a mausoleum, I lured him to a trap and cremated him on the funeral home conveyor. Miami's labyrinths lost their beast. Steve Valentine, Wiggles the Clown, pitched himself as birthday magic, delivered permanent disappearances. He photographed each child victim in clown makeup before burial. 12 trophy photos hidden in a metal box behind a medicine cabinet. 1 late night meet and greet, and I ended his act permanently.
What the hell is this? What's going on? They always say some shit like that.
Oliver Saxon, the brain surgeon, harvested occipital lobes from 5 unwilling donors to send to a family member, responsible for 24 deaths including Deborah's. Although I'm the one who pulled the plug on her, he's the one who made her brain dead. My pen found his carotid in a holding cell. Miami Metro's cameras called it self-defense. I called it successful outpatient surgery. Travis Marshall, the doomsday killer, turned revelation into Pinterest. 4 horsemen, angel wings sewn to torsos, a would-be church roasting finale, 11 confirmed kills. I skewered him with his own sword of truth. Armageddon postponed. His congregation was released to complain about parking instead of burning in it. Each of those 61 monsters I put down from my first column cancels an average of 9 future funerals. That's 549 families that don't have to put together an obituary. That's not murder, it's preventative medicine. Organized crime is tucked away neatly in the second column. 44 have been taken off the board. These are your cartel bagmen, smuggling kingpins, and DIY organ harvesters. Think of them as venture capitalists in the agony market. Some of my game pieces in this column are Jorge and Valerie Castillo, husband and wife importers who smuggled Cuban migrants and caged them until the debt was worked off or they went missing. 4 confirmed kills, likely several more. After a little marriage counseling, I killed them both.
For drowning them and dumping their bodies in the ocean, please.
We can pay you. We have money.
That's what it's all about, right?
A double tap on my slide box. 2 fewer human traffickers in Miami. A dozen captives suddenly set free. Oscar Mejia, Little Chino, 6'6" gang enforcer who carved gang tags into his victims with a machete. Miami's nightmare version of a growth chart. 10 confirmed kills. My first attempt ended with him walking away and me sporting a cheek scar. Attempt number 2, lanced him with a police tranquilizer while trapped in a garage elevator. New kill room and his own machete to the chest. 1 oversized menace downsized to 6 feet of plastic wrapped proof that persistence pays. Cole Harmon, Special Forces muscle and head of security for Jordan, chases self-help empire, really just a kidnapping ring that raped and filmed women for black market buyers. He snatched victims, chained them in Chase's cabin, tortured them with a whip, then strangled them, had 14 rape victims and responsible for 12 deaths. I short-circuited him with a stun baton and drove a knife through his chest before the first scream could echo. 1 barrel girl butcher off payroll, and every future motivational weekend quietly cancelled. Santos Jimenez crew, 4 confirmed kills, likely others. Cartel enforcers who turned my mother into chainsaw confetti. I tracked Jimenez to a dive bar in the Keys, and eventually introduced him to a quieter kind of saw. Cartel muscle deleted. 1 childhood nightmare finally accounted for. Victor Baskov, Koshka Brotherhood, emissary with hair-trigger temper, shot Detective Mike Anderson because he saw a dead body in his trunk when the detective stopped to help him with a flat tire. 2 kills that I know of. I caught him at the airport trying to escape. Converted a fire extinguisher into a blunt instrument of death. Gift-wrapped him in plastic and gave him to the Atlantic. The Brotherhood never even sent a thank you card. Hector Estrada, don't know his kill number. Only one mattered to me. Last surviving link to my mother's massacre. The one that gave the order. He was paroled and planning a quiet retirement. Promising a drug deal, I got him to follow me straight back to Container 13. The same rust-flecked box where I sat for days drenched in my mother's blood. 1 knife through the chest. 1 breathless apology he never got to finish. And the past finally stopped echoing. Just poetic symmetry and 160 square feet of corrugated steel. Every time I take out an enforcer, 20+ witnesses are still left breathing. Do the math, 44 bodies times 20 equals 880, still talking humans, and a noticeable drop in bay-bound body dumps. In my last column I keep the crimes of passion. 49 freshly retired amateurs lie here. These are the weekend warriors, jealous husbands, rage blackout exes, accountants who discover a chainsaw. A few of the column retirees are Stan Beaudry, long-haul trucker who beat a prostitute to death at a Jacksonville stop and wriggled off the hook on a technicality. Lundy's files pegged him as a Trinity suspect. Close enough for my needs. I intercepted his rig at Freddy's truck stop, pumped the M99, then staged his place to scream hammer-happy serial killer. 1 hammer, 1 carefully fractured skull, some carefully placed DNA. And Miami Metro spent weeks chasing a phantom while the real Trinity stayed in my crosshairs. Rupert Benson, early release poster boy who stabbed a tourist for a digital camera, then posed for club photos with the blood-stained lens. The justice system called it insufficient evidence. I called it job security. I tailed him to his beach apartment and let the bone saw carve a lesson into every pixel. Ethan Turner, serial spouse color in a linen suit. Wife number 1 accidentally overdosed on her pain meds. Wife number 2 went snorkeling, in international waters of course, while Ethan held her head under for the full tour. 2 life insurance payouts later, Miguel Prado handed me the case file like a party invite. I found Turner trolling for victim number 3 in Bemini. I disposed of his body piece by piece through his cabin's porthole window. Jamie Jaworski, hotel valet by day, snuff film hobbyist by night. He raped and murdered Jane Saunders, a mother of 2, and posted the footage to his fetish site. A faulty search warrant set him free, but the red devil tattoo on his arm matched the killer's ink in the video. I followed him to a construction site where he'd been stealing copper pipe, confirmed his confession, then began disassembling him until I was interrupted by the security guard. The ice truck killer, my brother, took the blame for that one. Benito Benny Gomez, former middleweight boxer who treated skulls like speed bags, caved in his girlfriend, then a father of two while the victim's son watched. My courtroom mix-up got him acquitted on purpose. In a condemned boxing gym, I strapped him to the ring. He was the night's main event after all. Rita called mid-ritual Harrison's ear infection emergency. So I skipped the pageantry, stabbed him through the heart, and stuffed the body into an old punching bag. After a sleep-deprived car crash and a bout of amnesia, 2 brutal knockouts were avenged. Fred Bowman, Free Bo, small-time coke dealer with big-time bad luck, killed 2 college women and dumped in the Everglades. Walked on a technicality. I found him hiding in Tegan's duplex after days of cat and mouse. He had the Skinner, the Prado brothers, and the cops looking for him. I found him first. Killed him in her storage shed, almost getting caught by Miguel Prado, who was there to kill him as well. Individually, they'd ruin an average of 2 families. Collectively, they could torch a whole suburb. Trimming 48 of them preserves roughly 96 more lives. And spared Miami the inevitable Dateline episode starring jealous boyfriends with bargain bin butcher knives. 153 corpses made by me. 1,525 families, each still singing happy birthday instead of amazing grace. Some people keep gratitude journals. I keep a double entry ledger in blood red ink. Debits equals monsters removed. Credits equals lives saved. Bottom line, I'm still solidly in the black, even if the ink smears a little when it dries. Regret? 0. Remorse? Still on back order. How do I sleep? Like a baby in a morgue. Quiet, climate controlled. Nobody crying. New York, you're welcome in advance. Just don't forget the fruit basket. If you think the body count is high, wait until you see what happened to the people who knew what I was. Some kept the secret. Most didn't live long enough to regret it. Watch the next video and see who got to live, and who didn't. Because knowing me was often a death sentence. I'm not just a forensic analyst, not just a father, or a brother, or a ghost to the Bay Harbor butcher. I'm something else entirely, something darker, and despite everything I did to hide that, people still found out. Some by accident, some by obsession, some got too close, and most of them, they didn't make it. Some raised me, some tried to stop me, some even tried to love me. But everyone who ever discovered who I was, what I really am, learned the same truth. Knowing Dexter Morgan comes with a steep cost. Harry Morgan, the first to know. He found me in blood. Literally. I was 3 years old, sitting in a pool of my mother's remains after she was murdered in front of me. Most kids would be traumatized. I became focused. Harry saw it early. The dead animals, the vacant stare. He could have turned me in, could have locked me away, or medicated me into a shell of myself. But instead, he created a system, the code, a set of rules that would give my darkness direction. Kill only those who deserve it. Never get caught. Cover every trace. Harry taught me how to fake emotions, how to pretend. He was a cop, but he turned his own son into a killer. And when he finally saw what I really was, when he walked in on me dismembering a body, he couldn't live with the truth. 3 days later, he swallowed a bottle of pills, left me with the code and a ghost that's haunted every kill since. Dr. Evelyn Vogel, the architect behind the code. Harry may have raised me, but Vogel was the mind that shaped me. A neuropsychiatrist who specialized in psychopaths. She worked with Harry to design the very principles that govern my life. She believed I could be something rare, a predator with purpose. I met her again years later. When the past started bleeding into the present, she told me she saw me as her life's work, not a monster but a masterpiece. Vogel never flinched. Not when I told her what I'd done, not when I brought her to crime scenes. She believed in the code, in control, in me. But in trying to understand monsters, she forgot that they bite. Her own son, Oliver Saxon, killed her. In trying to fix one broken mind, she ignored the other one she'd created. She died in front of me, still believing I was the better of the two. Brian Moser. My brother. My blood. The ice truck killer. We were born into trauma, left in a cargo container for days after watching our mother hacked to pieces with a chainsaw. I was adopted, given a second chance. Brian wasn't. He was left behind. He found me years later and revealed who he really was and who he believed I was meant to be. He wanted us to reconnect through blood. Literally, killing together. He even brought Deborah into it, tried to convince me to kill her as a symbol of our bond. But I had the code. I had limits, and Brian didn't, so I made the hardest choice of my life. I killed my brother. I didn't wrap him in plastic. I let him see my face. I let him feel that betrayal. It was mercy and a message. I wasn't like him. At least I told myself that. Camilla Fig. She worked in records, buried under paperwork, invisible to most, but not to me. She'd known me since I was a kid. One of Harry's oldest friends. She let me pull case files I had no business seeing. Looked the other way when I dug too deep, and over time I realized she knew exactly what I was doing with that information. When she was dying of cancer, I visited her. She asked me if I'd ever caught the ice truck killer. I told her the truth. She already knew. Then she said something I'll never forget. "You've done more good than harm, Dexter. That has to count for something." She was the first person to tell me that what I was doing might not be entirely evil. She asked me for one last gift. Death without pain. And I gave it to her. My first mercy kill. And maybe my most honest one. They didn't just know what I was. They helped to make me into it. And after them came the ones who tried to stop me. James Dokes.
Surprise, motherfucker!
A good cop. Maybe the last truly good one I knew. His instincts were sharper than the others. Sharper than I'd anticipated. From the beginning, he knew something was off. He'd stare at me like I was an animal he couldn't name, but recognized the scent. He followed me, watched me, broke into my apartment, and found my box of blood slides, the only real trophy I'd kept. That's when he knew. Not suspected. Knew. He caught me in the Everglades, caught me red-handed. I locked him in a cage, unsure of what to do next. I was stuck. I couldn't kill him. He wasn't guilty, not by the code. But Lila, she made the choice for me. She blew up the cabin. With Dokes still inside. He died for discovering the truth. And even now, I can't decide if I'm grateful or guilty. Lila West. I met her in Narcotics Anonymous, pretending I was a heroin addict, pretending I was just like everyone else. But Lila wasn't normal either. She didn't see a man struggling with addiction. She saw the darkness in me and loved it. Obsession doesn't even cover it. She thought we were soulmates, monsters meant to walk the world together. But she found Dokes in that cage. She didn't hesitate. She killed him, thinking she'd earn my love. Then she tried to kill Rita's kids. She crossed a line I couldn't ignore. Not even her chaos could excuse that. So I did what I had to do. She became another name on my table, because no one threatens what's mine and walks away. Miguel Prado. He was a rising star in Miami's legal system. Charismatic, powerful, ruthless when it suited him. We became friends, real friends, or so I thought. He caught me killing, and instead of being horrified, he was intrigued. He wanted to join me. He believed in his own version of justice. At first it was empowering. Finally, someone who saw me and didn't flinch. We hunted together. It didn't last. Miguel didn't understand the code. He killed someone innocent, a defense attorney. It wasn't about justice anymore. It was about ego, about power.
I am the last person you want to fuck with, because I will fuck you back!
I couldn't let that continue. I'd created a monster. And monsters get put down. Maria LaGuerta. LaGuerta was always ambitious, but she wasn't stupid. After Dokes died, she knew something wasn't right. Years later, she found a blood slide at a crime scene. Just one, but that was all it took. She started to dig. Slowly, methodically, quietly, she reopened the Bay Harbor butcher case, re-examined Dokes' death, traced threads that all led back to me. Eventually, she cornered me. She had everything. Proof, motive, timeline. And then Deb walked in, my sister, my last lifeline, and she pulled the trigger on LaGuerta. I staged the scene to make it look like a shootout, but I knew what had happened. An innocent woman had died for me, and that moment never left either of us. Joey Quinn, he never liked me. Not from the start. After Rita died, he started asking questions. He brought in Liddy, set a trap. He watched me, followed me. He was getting close, but then Liddy disappeared. Then Quinn, well, he backed off. Although he confronted me early on, he never officially found solid proof. Maybe he didn't want to, out of respect or for Deb, or possibly out of fear. Whatever his reasons, he let it go. But me, I never did. Stan Liddy. He was a dirty cop and he knew it. Hired by Quinn to dig into me. And he did. He was smart. Calculated. He watched me dispose of a body with Lumen. Got it all on tape. He had everything. He tried to blackmail me, cornered me in a van. But I was faster, stronger. I killed him. He was an innocent, technically. That made it a violation of the code. Another line crossed. Another secret buried. Another reminder that even I couldn't always follow the rules I swore to live by. They tried to catch me, or kill me, or turn me in. But not everyone wanted to stop me. Some of them actually understood me. Which is honestly even more disturbing if you think about it. Dexter Morgan, my sister, my anchor, my greatest burden, and my greatest loss. She saw the world in black and white, law and order. But I lived in the shadows between. For most of our lives, she idolized me, believed in the mask I wore. But that all shattered the night she walked into that church and saw me kill Travis Marshall. She tried to rationalize it, to wrap it in some moral justification. As I told her the truth, slowly, piece by piece, she fought it, denied it, hated it. But she loved me, and that was the problem. She became my reluctant accomplice, shielded me from the world, and every time she did, a piece of her broke. Eventually she snapped. Her soul bent so far it couldn't bend back, and in the end, she died because of me. Not with a knife, but by dragging her into my world, and never letting her go. Anna McKay, she was like me, a killer hiding behind a soft smile and southern charm. I put her on my table, sedated and ready to die, but I couldn't do it. There was something between us, familiarity, desire, recognition. I let her go, and in that moment she saw everything. We became partners, in every way. She accepted the monster, loved it, didn't ask me to change. For the first time I thought I could have it all. Family, passion, the darkness, and the light. But you can't outrun what you are, not forever. We tried to disappear, to start over. But ghosts don't retire, they haunt, and some part of me knew it wouldn't last. Lumen Pierce. I wasn't supposed to meet her. She was one of Jordan Chase's victims. Used, tortured, left for dead. I found her, saved her. She saw me kill one of her abusers. I expected fear, disgust, but instead I saw recognition, rage, purpose. She needed revenge, and I gave her the tools, taught her the ritual. We hunted together, killed together. For a while, we understood each other perfectly. She wasn't broken, she was focused. And when it was done, when her list was complete, so was she. She left, because her need was gone. Mine wasn't. Maybe it never will be. Isaac Serco, a mob boss, a killer, a man out for revenge. When he traced his lover's death back to me, I expected war. What I didn't expect was understanding. Isaac saw past the tactics. He saw the code, the logic, the restraint. We weren't so different. In another life we could have been allies, maybe even friends. But in ours we were doomed to orbit each other until one of us burned out. When he died, it wasn't satisfaction I felt. It was respect, and a sense that I'd lost someone who truly got it. Jonah Mitchell, the son of Trinity, the boy I couldn't save. I killed his father and watched his life fall apart in the aftermath. Years later, I found him again, angry, bitter, hollow. He'd lost his way. I told him the truth, that I killed Arthur, that I did it for Rita.
Was that because you killed him?
Yes. He didn't turn me in, didn't scream. He just accepted it. Sometimes, understanding doesn't come with forgiveness. It just comes with silence. And in Jonah's silence, I heard everything I needed to. Zach Hamilton. He was like me. I saw it in his eyes. The fascination with death. The urge he couldn't explain. Put him on my table, ready to end it, but I hesitated. I saw potential. I saw a student. I taught him the code, showed him how to channel it, control it. He looked at me the way I used to look at Harry, but just like me, Zach couldn't outrun the consequences. The brain surgeon got to him first. He died before he had the chance to prove whether the code could save him, or if he was already too far gone. Understanding me isn't the same as surviving me, but it does make for a great therapy session. Then there were the ones who got even closer. They didn't just understand me, they nearly ended me. Oliver Saxon, also known as the brain surgeon, he wasn't just a killer. He was Dr. Vogel's son. He found her files, learned everything about me, the code, the rituals, my entire history, and he used it against me, tried to dismantle the structure Harry and Vogel built. He was chaos wrapped in intellect, and he murdered his own mother, right in front of me. That's when I stopped caring about the code. I killed him in cold blood, for Deb, for Vogel, for Zach, for me, and I staged it like self-defense. Kurt Caldwell, a small-town psychopath with a god complex. He figured out that I killed his son Matt, saw through my new identity, cracked the mask wide open. He thought he could take me out quietly, thought he could out-hunt the hunter. He failed, but credit where it's due, he came close. The closest I'd come to slipping up in years. I burned his dismembered body in the incinerator. Angela Bishop, chief of police, former lover, bloodhound with a badge. She pieced everything together. Matt Caldwell, Iris, the Bay Harbor butcher. She did the one thing almost no one else ever managed. She made me look in the mirror and flinch. Angela didn't kill me, but she exposed everything, gave me one last chance to run. I didn't take it. Harrison Morgan, my son, my final mirror. He saw everything. The kills, the lies, the justifications. I tried to teach him the code. Thought maybe he had the same urges. Maybe I could mold him like Harry molded me. But Harrison didn't want to be like me. He wanted to stop me. And in the end, I let him. Because he was right. And I was tired. But it didn't turn out that way in the end. Monsters don't just disappear. They adapt. The world thinks I died that night. That Harrison put me down. That the cycle finally ended. The truth is I'm back. And this time I'm not hiding behind microscopes. No more masks. No more double life.